Welcome to our video about the life of Saladin, the iconic Muslim warrior and statesman who changed the course of history in the Middle East. From his humble beginnings as a young Kurd in Tikrit to his rise as the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, Saladin's life was marked by bravery, ambition, and cultural richness. In this video, we'll explore his military campaigns against the Crusaders, his diplomatic skills in uniting rival factions, and his legacy in the Islamic world and beyond. Get ready to discover the story of one of the most celebrated figures in medieval history. His Kurd origins, Saladin, of his real name Yusuf ibn Ayyub, is the son of a Kurdish officer born in Tikrit, on the Tigris, from a family originating from Devin, ancient Armenia. Shortly after his birth, his family left Tikrit and went to the court of Zengi, Atabeg of Mosul. Of Kurdish origin, Saladin first serves the Zengid emir of Syria, Nur ad-Din, sent to Egypt, where the declining Fatimid dynasty reigned. He was appointed vizier there in 1169 and abolished the Fatimid Caliphate in 1171. The conquest of Egypt, in 1167, a second expedition was sent to Egypt, during which Saladin accompanied his uncle. Saladin notably ensures the defense of Alexandria, while Shirkuh fights in Upper Egypt. Finally, a peace is concluded between Egyptians, Franks and Zengids, and the Frankish and Zengid armies evacuate Egypt. Advisors to the Fatimid Caliph Al-Adid advise him to appoint Saladin as vizier, hoping to take advantage of his youth and inexperience. But Saladin does not allow himself to be controlled and replaces the Egyptian civil servants whose loyalty is not judged foolproof by those close to him. The caliph's confidant, a eunuch named Al-Mu'taman al-Khalifa, tried to appeal to the Franks. His message was intercepted and Saladin discreetly had him beheaded on August 20, 1169. The Black Guard, whose members were closely linked to the disgraced officials, revolts. Saladin sends his brother Fakhr al-Din Turanshah to fight them and the guards are massacred after 2 days of very fierce fighting, on August 23. Saladin brought most of the members of his family to him and settled them in Egypt on estates confiscated from wealthy landowners who had supported the revolt. On October 16, 1169, the Frankish army led by King Amari I of Jerusalem left Ascalon and reached Egypt on October 25 and, joined by a Byzantine fleet, laid siege to Damietta. Saladin sensed that the situation in Cairo was uncertain and feared a revolt if he left the city to defend Damietta. He sends an army commanded by his uncle Siab al-Din Mahmud and his nephew Taqi al-Din Omar, which succeeds in supplying Damietta and providing it with a garrison. Disagreement arose between Franks and Byzantines and the siege was lifted on December 1197. Amari then tries to make an alliance with Saladin against Nur ad-Din, sensing that Saladin is beginning to consider his independence from Nur ad-Din. When Nur al-Din died in 1174, Saladin had to assert his authority over Fatimid Egypt. To establish the nascent Ayyubid dynasty, he implemented a major program of fortifications in 1176. He intervenes both in Cairo and Fustat, united to constitute the capital of his new empire, which he surrounds with a wall 20 kilometers long and above which a powerful citadel illustrates his power, but also in the main coastal positions and on the way of communication which it puts in place to cross the Sinai between Sadr and Ayla. The Third Crusade, then, while Philippe Auguste returned to France, King Richard and his ally the Grand Master of the Order of the Temple, Robert de Sable undertook the conquest of the coast and thwarted the tactic of harassment that Saladin inflicted on the Crusaders. The two armies clash at Arsuf on September 5. However, Richard does not exploit his successes and does not seize the opportunity that could have enabled him to retake Jerusalem. Convinced that Jerusalem could not be defended for long if captured, Richard began to fall back to regain the coast. Seeing an opportunity to avenge himself for Arsuf's defeat, Saladin counterattacked and on July 27 laid siege to the town of Jaffa, which had served as Richard's base of operations during his march to the inland towards Jerusalem. He takes the lower town, but not the citadel which resists. Informed, Richard then leaves his fleet, quickly gathers a small army, and rushes towards the city. The Battle of Jaffa begins. Beaten twice by Richard, on August 1 and 5, Saladin was forced to fall back towards Jerusalem. The failure of Saladin's counteroffensive marks the end of hostilities. Both armies are exhausted and Palestine is in ruins. Richard eventually concludes a peace treaty with Saladin, recognizing the possession of the coast to the Franks and that of the Palestinian hinterland to the Ayyubids. Richard and Saladin came to an agreement for Jerusalem in 1192 whereby the city would remain Muslim but would be open to Christian pilgrims. The person, Saladin, never officially bore the title of Sultan, which was given to him by many contemporaries. He believed that this title, corresponding to the secular arm of the Caliphate, belonged by right to the Seljuks of Iran. It was only after the elimination of the Seljuks by the Mongols that the Ayyubids assumed this title. Despite his fierce opposition to Christian power, Saladin gained an immense reputation in Europe as a chivalrous ruler, so much so that there existed in the 14th century an epic poem about his exploits, and Dante included him among the pagan souls of limbo. His death: Saladin died on March 4, 1193, at the age of 55, in Damascus, Syria, after a brief illness. His death was a great loss for the Muslim world and marked the end of an era of cultural and military flourishing. Saladin had requested that he be buried in a simple grave with no pomp or ceremony, and his wish was respected. Today, his tomb can still be visited in the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, where he is remembered as a symbol of unity, wisdom, and chivalry. And that's the story of Saladin, the legendary Muslim warrior and statesman whose legacy still resonates today. We hope you enjoyed learning about his life, his achievements, and his enduring impact on the history of the Middle East and beyond. From his military prowess to his cultural richness, Saladin was a remarkable figure who left an indelible mark on his time and on the future generations. If you want to discover more about historical warriors and their fascinating journeys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.